Oh, yeah,
Good day, good evening, good night.
Still trying.
And welcome. Oh my God. It's just killing me that there is no sound effect. Can someone fix this for us, please? Tell us how do we get sound beyond our wonderful voices? Well, at least two wonderful voices and just Realz talking away. But anyway, good day, good evening, good night, and welcome to our 103rd podcast. I am always excited to streak numbers beyond 100. I don't know, ladies. I just feel like we've made it. We're legit. You know what I mean? Nobody can tell me shit from podcast number 1, but hey. I have no shame in saying it's my longest relationship. I'm just saying, committed relationship.
And you didn't even do it like Weinstein. You did it legit.
Oh,
I know. And I work with ladies.
Ooh, and here we go.
Let's not even talk about, just saying.
Honest to goodness, though, it brought something to my mind because I came on Twitter this morning and I saw a quote from Chris Everett saying, I think she was making some sort of parallel between seeing all the things that are going on in Hollywood and her being grateful to being a part of the tennis community. And I was like,
really?
I was like, Christine. You guys kept an open secret about a child molester on the tennis tour. Nobody said anything.
Right. Meanwhile, Stanley was fucking down on vacation. You knew it, and she's probably at 16, 17.
Listen, so I was like,
can't be the one.
I had to roll my eyes, and I was like, let me just take a break.
That goes in the category of shit Chrissy says.
Like, no. This going in the category of fucked up things Christine says. Because you know what? There is a reason why there are no longer 14-year-old players on tour anymore. It's because of sexual predators. Okay, that's why there are no more.
We are already sidetracked. Already.
I'm
just annoyed. It just annoys me. Because all of a sudden, white women are acting like if sexual harassment and sexual assault is something brand spanking you just roll out of nowhere. As if it's something hasn't been forever. But you know what? Let's not digress. I got me heated already.
I'm sorry. So the quote was, and we will address this in the body of the podcast, but since I have it, I may as well pull it up. It says, after reading all these news stories about male predators in the workplace, I feel so fortunate to have been an athlete where equality and respect prevail. Thank you, Billie Jean King. Now, we will all get on that later.
All right,
but
moving on.
Moving on.
I'm so sorry y'all can't see my face right now because the quote was even worse when you were just mentioning it. But you know what? Before I go any further, let me introduce my Tuka hostesses with the mostesses who can assure everyone that this is a safe working environment. It's as safe as their own homes because they're in their own homes.
Which is apparently the only place Mayim wants us to be, in our house, wrapped up, right?
Exactly. We have the Kato Kalin of podcast. Hey, your boy got out of prison the other day, girl. You better go.
Shut your mouth.
Hang out with some OJ, original OJ. Janina from Florida, Ohio. How are you doing, girl?
Good.
I see you surviving. You didn't get paid last time around, but you know what? We ain't gonna talk about that. We won't be talking about that.
Did you miss me?
Yes, we missed you. Apparently, when you're not here, we have poor sound quality, so you need to be here just to keep it balanced and right.
And everybody discovers that I'm really intense.
I mean, you see,
how did they not know
before? I mean, that's just insane.
Alert! Angie is really intense.
But I don't understand. Like everybody keeps thinking, like Realz aggressive, but I mean, like
it's Andreen.
Andreen be giving these subtle shade, be all these digs. I mean, this is the same woman who went after Marcus Willis. I mean, like she ripped him to shred, and that was a gimme match for Fed. She was like, "Get the fuck out of here! That's no practice for Federer. Get out of here with this shit." So, I mean, you people being fooled by she being a nice one.
I never said I was nice. I said I was good.
I'm just saying what the people believe. I'm just saying what the public believe. They believe that you're so sweet.
Got everyone fooled.
That's good. That's good.
I'm a good.
You'll be our assassin. You will be our assassin. We need you to just slither in there in some of those places, which Realz will obviously stand out. And you can get all up in there and find out the secret to, crush souls. Like, like I
crush souls. Oh my God.
That's Janina. Janina, she walks up in there. She makes everything happen.
So this is Andreen from Solely Tennis Travel. How are you? Are you home or are you abroad?
I am home, and I'm looking forward to traveling soon, though. I'm like getting really itchy. My BFF is about to travel, and I'm like looking at his trip, and he's so wonderful. He's downloaded where he's gonna go, and I have it on my on my cell phone, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be all like jealous about where he's going. So I'm really amped. I'm really amped.
You've been all over the place this year. You had an amazing year so far in travel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did, and I'm about to sample it with going to Italy. I have not been to Italy in a long time.
So you're going to the WTA Finals too.
Yes, I'm looking forward to looking at the youngins, which Sasha apparently
and the oldies
far ahead, and then I'm gonna go check out the oldies.
But you know what? The great thing about Sasha is that when it comes to these big, huge tournaments. Like he just don't perform, so hey, it's gotta be exciting. Because I don't know what's the rules and regulation for that tournament. I mean, I just get the feeling that someone's gonna come out and be like, you know what, y'all had too many strokes in this rally, so God, we're gonna stop this right now. There's that.
There are lots of new rules.
Exactly. So
I hope it's on TV.
But let's put a call out. If any of our we did this a while back, and I thought it was really great when we had Jasmine on. I would love it if we had someone on who was going to be going to any of the remaining tournaments for the rest of the year. So anyone who's going to go to any of the upcoming tournaments, feel free to tweet at us.
Particularly on the women's side, because
particularly on the women. Like, I'd love it if anyone is going to Singapore. We would love to chat with you about that experience.
Jasmine was there last year or year before, right?
I think it was the year before. Yeah, she had a great experience. Sadly, Serena wasn't there, so that was the downer.
Well, hopefully this time around, she knows she's not gonna be there if she decides to go back.
Yeah,
she knows Serena's not gonna be there. So, ladies, we are back again, and let's just deal with the ladies. Not because we're sexist, but the fact of the matter, there ain't much to talk about because there's not much to see. You just can't see women tennis at this juncture. I am being 100. I don't have cable, so I guess I'm fortunate enough that I have been able to, I do the streaming. And because of you, Andreen, it pains me to now, flip up my laptop and go looking at tennis. You were like, I don't want to do this. I don't have to be streaming. I want to turn on my TV. And even though I haven't done that in years, now I've missed that feeling of turning on my TV and watching tennis. I don't know if it was the Lever Cup that got me confused. You know what I mean?
With all its surround sound coverage.
Exactly, about my station in life when it comes to tennis. And, I'm able to get, the US Open, because the last big tournament was US Open. So I did get to see a lot of matches on television. In fact, putting it on my computer seems much more an effort than actually watching it on my phone. So you have kind of like
I've worked some subtle magic on you. You know what it is?
Yeah.
It's because
I rebuke you.
You know what? It's because I write. I spend a lot of my time doing grant writing and some other things, and so I'm always on my laptop. And so for me, a break is not on my computer.
Fair enough. You can't be looking at the source of your torture all the time for your pleasure and for your comfort and your pain. It just doesn't make sense. It's confusing.
I'm also mad at Janina because Janina actually has being sport. I'm upset with
Janina is busy being a mother, okay?
Listen, no, I don't even know what channel it is.
I rebuke that.
I can't be bothered. I need it to be on Tennis Channel. Get that shit back on Tennis Channel.
Yeah, the WTA, I don't know what the fuck y'all are doing. I talked to y'all about numbering.
This is something that nobody forgot, though. I don't know if this is still the case because I haven't bothered to watch BN Sports, but not all that long ago, yeah, they were playing WTA matches, but they weren't fucking playing them live. They were playing them, you know, on delay. You know, we know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I actually reached out to one of our old co-hosts, Karen, and I asked her about WTA TV because I might have to contemplate getting WTA TV next year because I have tennis TV, but now that I have tennis channel, I kind of don't really need it.
Well, do you have a Roku player that's going to allow you to put it on your TV?
No, right? Is that what I need?
I don't know, probably something.
Oh,
like
I have
that.
a Roku player, but wait, I have a Roku player. What do I need to get? Let me find out.
Oh, see, look at that. We're learning all these tricks. You can lay on your couch and watch some WTA. Well, I mean, the story of the WTA, what do we have 2 stories, right?
They're non-existent.
No. No.
We can't
Serena had a baby. B.
No. Well, it's done. The season's theoretically done, and because they've got their final season locked in, right? Everybody's locked in.
Yeah, they have their top 8 because in the past couple of years, it's been all exciting because of Kuznetsova.
Yeah, there's always somebody who does. But you know who's pulling the Kuznetsova this year? It was Garcia, right? Caroline Garcia.
It was supposed to be Garcia and Konta.
Yeah,
Konta. It was supposed to be Garcia and Konta. And then Konta, you know, if she trips over herself, she gotta be rolling. Konta's one of those.
You know what? This is the second year
have a power
that she comes.
People who like she doesn't. She doesn't have the second year in a row. I think she has come close to making it and then plopped out. Konta's one of those players who she operate by solar power. Like, you know, she doesn't have an electric engine. I'll tell you, it's like Konta has to get a rolling start. She just can't roll up. She can't come out hot. Like, there is no incentive. She gotta be winning. If she's not winning, she has to come in with momentum. So she kind of like stumbled. Like, she was supposed to do well at the US Open and didn't really materialize there, if I'm not mistaken.
No, yeah.
Just stripped all over herself. I mean, some of these matches, Konta's fallen. I mean, like, Konta was so big, she won Miami.
She was doing really well in the early part of the year.
She was doing well early on in the stages. And I mean, like, this is not
post Wimbledon.
She did pretty
a little dodgy.
She did well at fairly decently in the graphical tournament. So I mean, I'm really surprised.
More than decent, right? She only fell under the poor Venus. You know, she Venus took her out.
Oh yeah,
remember she was having. Yeah,
beautiful. It's great.
But you know, so let me do you all a solid because we had to check ours for ourselves. So the top 8 ladies, according to the WTA website. So if I'm wrong, blame them. It is our number 1, Simona Halep. Remember,
finally she got there. Let's give her congrats. I mean, like, when no one was watching, Simona became number 1.
Exactly. Yes, it is, I believe, the 3rd number 1 of the year.
I am not impressed.
Carbian Muguruza, Caroline.
No one's checking for you.
Carolina Pliskova, Elina Svitolina, Caroline Wozniacki, Venus, Yelena Ostapenko, and Caroline Garcia laughing and stomping all over poor Kiki's heart, all the way to the bank. Are you guys surprised?
So what you're trying to tell me that this field is wide open. Anyone can roll up in there with it.
Actually, you know what? Really?
Including the reserve. The reserve could probably win this event.
Oh my god.
But honest to goodness, guys. So let me see. Do any of our top 6s make this? I think Elena is one of ours. Venus was one of our top 6, right? So I think those are the only 2 from any of our. Pliskova was yours, right? She's
yeah.
For you.
I kind of want to give her some.
But you don't even like her. I mean, what?
She does.
I don't believe that. I have to go check her receipt. Because you always claim she don't move.
No, Janine is a real fan of Frozen Caro.
I admit that she doesn't move. Totally admit it.
That's what she loves.
That's what you want. Look,
she likes robotic Caro.
Should we be concerned? Should we be concerned about this? Because this is sounding kind of dodgy to me. She's not moving. Just why I like her.
We're talking about on the tennis court, Realz.
Okay, good.
Get your mind out of the gutter. You know what? That's actually, I mean,
a wide open field.
It's a wide open field.
Listen, I need Venus to finish strong like she started this year.
Yeah.
And I need us to win a big title. I need us to win a big title.
I mean, is she tired? Like, what's she been doing? I don't know, since I don't see the WTA.
She showed up in Hong Kong and she won like 2 matches and then lost.
Is she rested?
But you know what? She should be fine because she stayed. She probably didn't come home. So she probably stayed in the Far East. So it'd be easy for her to get to Singapore. She should get there early. And she should be primed and ready to go, right? I don't see why Venus should feel pretty comfortable playing all of these players. Let's be honest. I mean, maybe the biggest scare is Garcia, depending on how it works.
And she's gonna fuck up. I mean, because that's just what she does.
Look, Mons has been able to get some momentum going. So she's been winning more than 3 matches in a row.
She's done.
You want to be on Simona Halep's team because you can get out of that. Like 1 versus 2.
You want to be in that group.
You want to be in that group. You want to be in that group. I mean, if I had to pick a group, right? Let's pick our groups.
Our dream groups.
The dream groups. I would like Simona and Venus in the same group.
And Wozniacki. I want Wozniacki over there. I do not want us to pay over there.
Because Garcia is tired. Garcia is tired.
Simona, Venus, Garcia would be a fun group. And then that'd be great.
And the other side, they could do whoever wants it the most. I am actually surprised Vasquez not up in here because Aga,
she's busy making babies.
Aga is just not on the vulturing
the wheel. No, the wheels.
Kerber didn't make it.
The wheels fell off of Aga right at the end of the season.
I mean, look, last year #1 is nowhere in the box.
Listen, last year's anyone who won. I mean, who was it that won last year? It was our favorite Dami Cibulkova, right?
Dami.
Oh, that's right. She came through with the surprise win, huh?
Yeah. So
and she was the last person in, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Last year.
Not Savona. Remember, she showed up late. Was out of the picture.
I was out of the great picture. Well, let's think about. I mean, I think the pictures should be great this year. This is an interesting group. I'm sure.
Is Konta there?
No, well, she's an alternate. Is Konta going to be the alternate?
Does she get to be in the picture?
Well, everyone. Honest to goodness,
but I think it's probably going to show up in a plastic bag. I assure you.
She's going to play up in a ball ground. But you know what? Everyone should be there. There's nobody that's playing any tournament everyone should be settled in. So,
but I'm saying if Konta gets to be there and be in the picture, she's going to ruin the picture.
No, she's not going to be in there. She's not going to be in there because she forfeit that opportunity to get in when she didn't play Moscow.
Okay.
But she couldn't get in as a top 8, but she can get in as an alternate, no?
But just
gotta be an alternate. Listen, with this group, I wouldn't.
She is number 10.
I mean, but no one's really working with an injury. It doesn't feel like anyone's working with an injury. So I don't know whether the extras would play at all.
We'll see.
So, and of course, there's the doubles ladies, which, I mean, I don't know, for people who watch doubles, it's Martina Hingis and one of the Chan sister.
Letisha.
Then we have
Vesnina. Now say Letisha.
I don't want to address that issue. It's Letisha?
No, it's Young John. That's a Chan sister.
Another name.
They gave her. No, we're not doing that. We're not giving you the.
No. It's not me giving her that name. They give themselves a name.
I know, but I told my.
They gave themselves Americanized names.
Why? When I was in graduate school, my roommate was from Taiwan, and so she introduced herself to me, and she's like, she says her name, and then she says, but you can call me Jen, and I was like, why would I do that? What's your name? And I was like,
so this is common?
I think it's common. No, Americans don't like to twist their tongues in foreign ways. So they'll do it for Russian names, but not for any Asian or African names. So people are always a big shortcut. Yes.
Actually, most Russians that I know give themselves an Americanized name.
Probably, but not those.
All Mishas and Michael.
Michael.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what that.
But that's reasonable translation of their name.
Actual name, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that's not your name being Mikhail, and all of a sudden you go call me Bob.
Listen. We were America was a superpower for a brief spell, and this is what you needed to do when you're interacting with superpower. You gotta change your name.
Well, not only America. I think when they come over to Western country, the Western part of the world, in Europe, I'm sure the same thing is in Europe.
No.
Call me Jenny.
Happens.
No, I don't do it. I mean, unless
fair enough. But I do know the Chan sisters.
Unless you choose, listen. I mean, I also want to respect your right to do it. If you feel the need to do that, and that's something you're into, but I'd like to give you and refer to you by the name that your parents named you.
I think there's a whole lot more going on there than I just feel like changing my name.
Yeah, no, they don't change it. They just actually call themselves that. It's not like they don't have like a legal form. I don't. Well, think.
Sure, but it's still stupid.
I mean, well, let's just say what you think, Janina.
When you go to Italy, who are you going to be?
So one is Angel, and the other one is Letisha.
Well, I'm gonna go with. Well, you know what? Whichever one that is, I don't know, but I have her. Asian.
No, Angel isn't the one that plays with.
So okay,
she's not the one who
plays.
She's the one that plays with one of the hard H.
This is the most ridiculous thing.
Okay, it is what it is, honey. So that's there. And so number 2 is Elena Vesnina versus with Ekaterina. Casey
Letisha, that's her name.
Okay, and then Casey and Ashley Barty is number 3. Number 4 is Lucy Hard H. Draka and Katerina Silyakova. Andrea Lavakova, I think it is, and Tamia Babos, if I'm pronouncing it
You know what?
wrong.
They should all just change their fucking names.
See? You're racist. See how that is? You know what?
Exactly.
Interesting person. Let's talk about this right now. This is hilarious. What I love is like when I'm doing the doubles list, both for the men and the women's side, I get to like the top 5 players, and I'm like, I get all of these. Then comes number 6. Veta Peshke and Annalena Grunfeld.
Who the hell is that?
Exactly.
Annalena Grunfeld. Annalena was supposed to be the next big German sensation,
but she's a double star. And now we have
she became a double star.
Wai Fan Zhu and Gabriel Dabrowski.
Oh Jesus.
And Maria Jose Martinez Sanchez. Is she the ball fluffer?
That's one person?
Yes. Is she the one that fluffs the balls? Is she the ball fluffer?
I think so. Someone's gonna correct us.
Yeah, is she the one that used to fluff the balls against her body and Serena?
Serena
accused her of fluffing the balls.
Is it illegal to fluff?
However, homegirl can say I'm one of the few women I'm told who bagel Serena. Okay, well, she didn't win the match though, but she bageled Serena.
But wait, is it illegal to fluff the balls?
I mean, it's a little illegal to try to get an advantage in the middle of the thing and try to squeeze the ball.
Because you're making the ball older than they should be.
That it is, and that's
why the balls are taken out of rotation.
Yeah, and then her partner is Andrea Klepak. So I'm assuming from the names of that field that your winner will probably be Martina Hingis.
Yeah, God, they're not losing. I mean, Martina is up there snatching. Martina broke up a sister relationship. Like she's ruthless. I'm sure. She was trying to whisper in Venus' ears at one point. Venus was just like, girl, you better back away.
Well, I'm looking forward to it's Singapore time. Oh gosh. So Janina, time's gonna be on your side again. It's not gonna be on your side, it's gonna be late. Because the first part of the tournament looks like it's mostly evening matches. And then towards the end, it like Thursday, Friday, I think. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it goes back to like a 1 p.m. start. So these are gonna be evening times for us in the US of A.
What?
Oh, but I'm sure Vesnina and Makarova might be able to get through.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, wow. Lobachkova was qualified twice? This is insane. Yeah. She was able to qualify twice. She's number 9. And unfortunately, Bethany Maddox and Lucy Safashova can't get in.
Yeah, that's partly why you end up with a couple of these names that you're like, huh? Yeah. But I think you're right. It's probably going to come down to 1 and 2 in the doubles. Do you guys think it comes down to 1 and 2 in the singles?
No, like I said, I told you, it's gonna be wide. It's gonna be wide open. It's gonna be like, I'm telling you. Don't be surprised if Johanna Contact gets in there and Kiki is number 10, which means people also might pull out early injured or something, and then Kiki just like, you know what? Let me get my season back by winning the WTA Finals.
Well, I know. I don't think anyone is injured though. So that's. I mean, unless
I don't think it's gonna matter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know what? Who I'm hoping. Listen, if it's not Venus, I'm perfectly happy with Alina Svitolina taking it.
Oh, I'm happy with Ostapenko.
Svitolina?
Yes, she's number 4, girl.
That's your pick?
She deserves it, and she has been a rootless vulture on tour this year. So.
No, I said I mean, she won the most matches. I said if Venus cannot do it, then I'm happy with Svitolina. She's my second pick. Right. What are your top 2?
Venus, and Venus.
Well, yeah. She actually has a good shot with this field. I feel like
it's wide open. I am with Venus, Ostapenko. I am with Svitolina and Halep, girl. If you can't win, I mean, I like her craziness and rebellious nature. I do like.
Yeah, like he likes the flashback to '90s tennis when the ladies loved to win.
She's just like, I don't know her. I've been playing her since I was 10, but I don't know her. I mean, like that take some chutzpah to do. I mean, like you can't make that out. You can't make that out. That is like dynasty level shade. Okay, like
I don't know her. I mean, you're in a picture next to her, but
never seen her before in my life. But I mean, for the sake of WTA reputation, I would hope that Simona Halep would get the number 1 title as she does. I don't know if she'll be able to hold on to it if she doesn't win here. But
I don't know if that's possible. I feel like somebody can emerge out of this with the number 1 title.
Right. I'm sure Gabinia probably could.
Yeah.
But I was hoping if Simona is like the last girl standing. And I mean, it's kind of pitiful that what's her name is not even like one of the alternate Kerber. She's nowhere to be seen on this top 10 list. She's just like, I mean, like, there's no, you can't reclaim this.
Yeah, so we've got our top 8. So that's the next tournament, and that begins on the 22nd, you said, Realz?
The 22nd to the 29th. 6 days to go, which is next week.
Next week.
Sunday, I believe.
Next week, Sunday.
Yes, I know. God, do we look forward to those awful dinner pictures and those hideous fashions. Oh. Great. And Realz is living for it. He can't wait. He can't wait.
It's going to be a story. I mean, I think that'll be our next podcast, right? Our next podcast would be the results show. I don't know if we're going to podcast next week. We might be
because nothing happened. What's happening this week?
No, just some little tournaments here and there. Moscow and Antwerp is happening as well. But definitely, we're going to rendezvous back to talk about Singapore and Basel and Vienna, I believe it is.
Yeah. Ooh. Is Rafa showing up for Basel or he's going to Vienna?
No, he was supposed to be on the Basel list, but Rafa wrapped his knees, so you know what that usually signals.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any other news?
But we can, if we're gonna talk about news, it's not. Yeah. Did I move away from this? Yes, I did. I really did. Sharapova finally won a title on her like umpteenth wild card entrance. She has not played a single qualification tournament since she's returned.
That's called skipping to the middle of the line. Good for you.
That's game in the system again, girl. People can say whatever, and they want to be, and these are the same people who want to turn around and say shit about Jeannie getting another wild card, right? But Maria come back from a doping suspension, and she has gotten like 15 wild cards. I don't even think injured players can get that many wild cards in a year. Actually, junior players, even a talented junior, cannot get that many wild cards in any 1 year. So that just tells you how really fucked up this is. So don't tell me that the tournaments can do whatever they want. No, they cannot. Well, because there are some rules and regulations to that.
I mean, I think let's say like Stevens talking about picking and choosing which wild cards to take and not take because something about only taking, you could only take so many.
Yeah, that was there is a thing because I know while I was researching for junior players, so junior players, there are a limited number of tournaments per year that they can play until they get to 18. So the number increased. They can only start being on the tour when they're 15, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So the number of tournaments you can play per year and the major tour goes up as you go up. 16 more, turn 17, 18, you're a full member. Get certain number of wild cards per year. So they force you to go into the qualification. You must go to the qualification. So let's say you're a hot young junior, like as per the Sharapova was what it was, like they can't just give you a whole bunch of wild cards. They're like, oh my God, we love you. We just want you to show up every single time. Right. No, you have to qualify. And Maria Sharapova has not done this. So talk about that. Well, I don't know what kind of integrity sport, whatever. I mean, this. But anyway,
listen. She joins a long. She joins a distinguished list of past winners, which include Alison Risk, Agnieszka Radwanska, Peng Shuai, and now Maria Sharapova. She is slated to have a career as strong as Alison Risk next year. So that's good for her. I think that's fantastic.
So she is. I think if she stays around in this area, I don't know if there's not many. She's not probably gonna play any more tournaments. So she gets to. She's by right will be in Melbourne without any assistance.
Without any assistance,
she is in the cutoff. Yeah, finally,
which is going to be new for her. No assistance at all. Working hard.
Yeah, they spared her the quote unquote the ignominy, the indignity of having to play qualification.
Good for her.
Yes. I mean, goddamn it, tennis. Fuck you and your bullshit.
Good for her though. Listen, apparently you need her to sell tickets for a 3,500 person
coming
stadium.
into the finals with a title. So maybe she might win a second title for the year. This was the seventh final. And she won a title. I think this was in Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken. This is how WTA get confusing. There was 2 fucking tournaments in Tokyo back to back, and I don't even know which one went more than the other. I keep talking about this issue, but no one keep hearing me. I'm done.
That's fine. Congrats to Wozniacki. I have a feeling Wozniacki might also be like an outside dark horse.
For what?
Yeah, because she was so close
for Singapore.
in the semifinals.
It's the kind of thing where she could sneak in. Because you know how like sometimes Singapore is just like an outlier winner.
Well, it has been so for the past.
It has been for the last couple of years. It's somebody who's like
showed up. It's
always
been kind of messy.
It's been a little bit like, you're the winner. Okay, sure, I'll take that. So
we would like remember I got rolled up in 2015 and was just like 2006 gonna be I got like it
could be anybody.
In Melbourne, and then she
her.
So well.
So and then that's cool. So Wozniacki finally won her title, which sent her wonderfully into Singapore. And you have Ostapenko won in Korea, and Garcia is coming in hot to handle. She was trying to play Moscow to make sure up that her ability to get into Singapore, but she didn't need to. She won Wuhan and Beijing, which I think are pretty big tournaments. Don't know how that number works, but again, it's solid tournament premier titles. But, because Konta needed to get to the finals of Moscow, and Moscow being, I guess, probably shady. At least this is how they try to put it out there. This is how tennis journalism work. Moscow didn't give Garcia a wild card into the event because the French Federation didn't give Maria a wild card into French Open. So they decided, stick it to you, but Garcia didn't need it because Konta pulled out. It's so amazing that international organizations are making decisions like that. It's almost like they're all Trumpers or something. Is that how they've been making decisions? I'm going to stick it to you. You're going to stick it to me. That seems really professional.
Yeah, that's how they roll. So this is how the ladies have whittling down. And I have to say, WTA, you kind of started off hot in the beginning of this year, but you're kind of ending on a wah. I don't feel any kind of excitement and buzz.
How are you going to skip over Strikova and Pavs, man? Come on.
What?
Gotta give it.
They won in Linz and Hong Kong.
It's good for Pavs.
Because, Strikova, she be getting turned up in the late half the tournament. Should be good for an upset, and then she get turned over like
But I think it's not going to be helpful for them because isn't the Fed Cup final coming up towards the end of the year?
Who's in it?
Isn't it? I believe it's the Czech ladies, right? The Czech ladies are in the final. So having Strikova come up on like a good run is going to be helpful.
Yeah, she's very effective in the doubles, and they also have 2 of their doubles girls, 2 or 3 double ladies playing in the final. So Czech Republic is always showing up for the team event, except Tomas Berdych. They don't show up.
Tomas Berdych is on the other side.
Actually, you are mistaken. We are completely wrong, and we should be so ashamed of ourselves. First of all, why is the Fed Cup Finals 26 days from now?
That's what I'm saying. It's
what
the last
is?
event.
Tell me who.
The Fed Cup.
Tell me who is in the Fed Cup Finals.
Well, it is the Czech. The Czech are in the final.
It's not the Czech.
No, they are. Oh no, you're right.
No,
the U.S.
The U.S.
U.S.
Oh my God, we are being so like
oh my God,
Austin Williams, Austin Price, or
it's the
we're
U.S.
being like
versus Belarus.
Belarus.
That's how much I care.
Oh my God. You're joking right now, right?
No,
I am absolutely serious.
Wow.
I swear, if this were on a test, I would have failed it. Were knocked out since the Czech Republic was knocked out by the U.S. in the second round in the semifinals.
Oh God. I had no idea.
But that's not early. They knocked out the Czech
April. It's happened in April.
Yeah, but that's it. Right?
Wow.
Oh wow. Talk about not paying attention to Fed Cup. Woo.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
We just lost major street cred.
I don't know if there was street cred to be had from checking for the Fed Cup.
Hold on. Remember that time back in the day, Oracene had put out this tweet like, "We'll be checking for Fed Cup."
I'm checking for Fed Cup, but apparently not.
She's like, let me go see what's going on in this boring Fed Cup final.
No, the U.S. versus Belarus.
She did.
Oh, so does that mean that Vika might play? I'm assuming good chance to get on a tennis court again.
Yeah, that would be exciting. And it's in Belarus,
Belarus.
though. That's the unfortunate thing. It's not going to be in America. It's going to be in Belarus. Minsk.
Oh, well, that's too bad for her. So
yeah, talk about Vika real quick, or no?
Oh, you want to talk about her real quick? Yeah, we're on women's.
Well, I think recent.
What?
Well, I think I saw on my timeline that there was mention that a hearing was happening this past week.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't really care about that. I want to talk about the fact that she's almost unrecognizable. She's so fucking skinny. And I cannot understand why so many people are like, oh, it's okay that it's understandable that she looks like this because she's got that crazy guy drama. No, eat. Just eat, honey.
That's a lot of reasons for a lot of things right there. But
yeah, and that is not doing her any favor with the allegedly crazy boy drama.
There's no crazy boy drama. That's just
exactly. We don't even know
drama. It's just parents.
Exactly.
Listen, it's Twitter drama because they don't know and they have to say something.
Well, she does. I do think that she looks remarkably thin, and I'm actually flashing back to Vika when she gave Sharapova a beat. When she gave Sharapova a beat in 2011 Vika. She looks like that Vika. She's on the Nole plan, I guess.
She looks like shit. I mean, let's just put it out there.
I don't know. Do you think she
has always had? Vika has always had a very up and down weight thingy. If you remember, perhaps we were just remembering Vika 2012 in the era of her and Serena's rivalry.
No, Vika was very, very thin when she first.
She was very thin and very. She was heavier.
But
if you go back and look at things.
No, but during her recovery period, like when she came back, because it seemed to me like she wasn't able to work out as much with her foot issues, she was a little bit heavier than normal for herself on the court. And I think that really hampered some of her movement. But now she's looking really, really thin.
She Remember in 2010 or 2009, she almost passed out in Melbourne.
Yeah, that's true.
At the US Open. So she's had this sort of like battling issues and whatnot. So this might be something else beyond just anorexic, I don't
know if we want to make any of those claims before you go down that
But
road.
I'm just saying, like, if it's anything like that, I hope I hope that's not it, because you don't want to have a rather unhealthy relationship with food, and you have to care for another human being who is defenseless.
I'm just gonna need her to eat. I don't know what's going on with her, but I don't think she looks good. I saw a picture and I had to zoom in and really study her face. I did not know who she was. So get your life right, Vika.
I mean, I'll just have to see. I'll have to see when she gets on the tennis court. Because I don't, I mean, a lot of these, apparently, people have the ability to do things with pictures nowadays. Because I've seen pictures for tennis players, and when I saw them on a tennis court, they didn't look the same. So,
listen, I saw that shit and thought she was on the Bartoli diet, not Nole, and that's a problem.
But happily, she isn't allergic to electronics.
Okay,
so I'm excited about that.
So that'll be good. I mean, it'll be fun to see her come back. I mean, like, can we talk a little bit about? Realz, you've been able to watch a lot of her matches. Hopefully, what's going on with Caroline Garcia? Like, what's this transformation? Like, this is kind of a really nice run.
Also, I think it's a mental thing, and she's fighting through. I mean, like, when you're struggling, I mean, someone has yet to explain to me why Ashley Barty is a thing. I mean, let me correct that. Let me be more specific. She is a human being, and she is important to lots of people. But why is there this huge fan following for Ashley Barty? Why is that a thing? Not why she's a thing. Let me be very careful. I am confused, concerned, and I don't even know. Like, but anyway, I guess they got to cheer for someone in the absence of other people. But hey, in that match in particular, Ashley Barty served for the match twice, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And Garcia was just like, girl, I'm not going home today. I am not going to be runner-up to you. No way. Get through and played her tennis. And she's another one of those French women who had that relationship with their father. Like, father, the coach in the box. So she played within herself, and she came up with the shots. Like, she was definitely showing... she had win that 7.5 when she played Maria at the French Open second round years ago. I'm pretty happy for that, because I always thought that she had huge potential, but I don't trust the Frenchie when it comes to mental fortitude. I don't trust them at all. I trust them to get through any room without them stumbling over themselves. So she's been able to do that for 2 tournaments now, and solidly and impressively, and she has a good game. So pretty good. She's fit, so that helps.
What do you like her chances for the final? I mean, she's the one that's on the streak, isn't she?
Y'all thought I was joking. I am telling you, this is anybody's turn to win. And I'm dead ass serious. I'm not even trying to be
not according to Janina. Janina is just like, it's Venus all the way.
No. Don't. I think you're confusing here. Janina is speaking of who she wants to win, and who I want to win definitely is Venus. Everybody finds out about that. But we all know that anyone pick up that trophy come next week after next Sunday, we're not going to be surprised. We're going to be like, yeah, and we know it's not going to mean anything for the following year.
I know. That's what's so great about that.
we just know what it is. We're just going to be like, girl, you won a big trophy. You won a big tournament. You get a big check. And congratulations. And that's it.
And bye.
And that's all it is. And you get some big points. That's it. It's not going to mean anything for next year.
Yeah, that's what's great about it.
Pressure on them when it comes in Melbourne, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to be real pressure. People are just going to say it's pressure just because they want to talk. They're just going to fill some paragraphs.
It depends on who wins it. If it's Simona, then it'll affirm her number 1. If it's Muguruza, then it affirms that Muguruza had a great year. If it's an outlier, then the pressure's on them to sort of follow up with it in the new year. It depends on who you are, what that trophy means, I think.
That's going to come out of the only story that can come out of it is going to mean something. It's probably if Ostapenko wins or Venus wins.
Yeah.
Oldie and the newbie. That's about it.
Yeah.
There's no other real story coming up because, I mean, if anybody else win it, falls wrong in Melbourne, and we're gonna be like, oh well, not really surprised, but hey, this is usual them. This is what they usually. This can happen. There is potential within them for this. It's always there a possibility, but you know, hey, as good as much. The bookmakers are scratching themselves. I mean, like, look, put money on all 8 of them equally, okay? Spread it around.
You know what? That is what is called parody, Realz. That is parody, okay?
All right.
Let's talk about the fellas.
All righty.
Men's. So the men's have had some sort of a streak itself. Divadal is on a streak. Well, was on a streak. And Goffin was on a streak. He won 2 tournaments. He won Shenzhen and Tokyo.
Wasn't that his first title?
Yeah, beating your boy, Janina.
Was it really his first title?
Yeah, I think it was his first title.
In a long time, like a couple of years, I think.
I thought I read ever.
Okay.
Because he was winning those other titles.
Challengers.
Remember? Challengers. Was a big fan.
Oh no, that's how he got himself on the tour. That's how he got himself legit.
I'll never forget that.
So this was his first tour level win.
I hope not. I don't want to think so. Let me go do a little Googling to find that.
I thought that's what I read. I was kind of surprised by it myself. So I don't know.
I put David Goffin. Somebody tell me David Goffin girlfriend. Oh, girl, please. Stop with that insanity. He has 4 career titles, I see. And I can do the Google. No, Google doesn't tell me.
He does. He has 4 titles.
All right, so he has 4. So maybe this was like the first title at a
No.
level.
He got a title in 2014.
Yeah, that was his maiden title.
So he's had a title on the tour. I do think you're right though, Janina, that he was kind of known for doing a lot of like challenger stuff.
Oh, 2014, he won 2 titles. He won Kibbutz, and he won Mitz.
Yeah, those titles.
Beating Dominic Thiem in the finals in for his first title.
Whatever.
Good for him. So so this time around he ended up with 2 titles in
and he just come off
Nice.
Who did he?
And he came off an injury this year.
That horrible.
That's right. He Dolgo and
ugly ankle injury.
Yeah, that was harsh.
Yeah, so good for him.
That's actually really good for him. Who did he beat in Tokyo? I know he beat Tokyo. He beat. Was it RBA?
Isn't it Benoit? Am I wrong?
No. Was it Pear? I think it might have been Pear. So he's actually had a really nice little run. I think that's really cool for him. Good for him. No, he beat
Manarino.
Manarino, yeah.
Manarino, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice little Goffin title run. Good for you, Goffin.
Yay!
Get some extra dollars in the.
I know.
Because Andy Murray would have been winning these titles.
For better ice cream.
And he lost to Gilles Simon in Shanghai, but that was probably good for him. Yeah. I think he could do well in Paris. Maybe give himself a chance. Well, maybe actually, he's probably not. He's probably gonna do another one of these other indoor tournaments that's coming up.
Yeah, because usually at this time it's usually Andy Murray and Novak winning these titles. So someone's getting in there for some of that money.
Someone's gonna sneak in.
So I have to tell you all something, and y'all can rebuke me. And again, it's the Andre Juju.
Mm-hmm.
Today I was rolling through Twitter. And I had a very odd sensation and sneaky feeling that I kind of miss Nole and Murray on the tour.
Bye.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I should be dismissed. Just in this seat. Realz is not real.
Why were you missing them?
I mean, because the crazies was just NoleFam. Like, we can all be in agreement. NoleFam was insane. And we can rally around that.
And the man was.
I don't miss that shit.
No, they were a focal point.
Yeah,
when people were able to look at them, I'm just like, and when they want to say something crazy, they could be like, "Shit, crazy," because NoleFam says shit like that. But since NoleFam has been like in some circles, maybe they've been muted, maybe I've been blocked. I don't know. I don't see them around on my timeline per se, you know. But crazy shit today from Divadal fans, and I was like, "Are they talking about Nole? Are they talking about Divadal? Like, what is this?" And I was just like, "Novak, come back and right this ship. Come back and fix this."
I think I mean, maybe you know what? Let me play devil's advocate and say that there's a possibility that whomever is atop the rankings and dominating the tour, their fans become really rabid and crazy. So there was a period in time, I'm assuming, when Fed fans were the same.
Motherfuckers are so crazy.
Really? I mean, I don't know some of these people. Really. I mean, like, I don't know these people.
Yes, you do. You, in fact, can be one of those people.
We all have.
By saying what?
We all have strength.
Look.
In fandom. We
Let
all
us
have
not get confused here. Let us not get confused here. There's one thing in saying I want Federer to win everything and never lose, whatever. That's one, you know, that's just being a fan, whatever the case may be. But I'm not gonna make fake charts and then come out and be like, see Federer just win a tournament and be like, Federer is not at his best. He's still weak. Get the fuck out of here. What is this madness? That's like me saying at 2009 when Federer won French Open, oh, Federer's not at his best. Get the fuck out of here. Federer's been showing up there. Like, if he was not at his best in 2009 when he won that French Open, thank God anyway. Because you know what? He's been working damn hard since 2005 to get that fucking title. 2004, if I should say. In 2009, and just take it with a B game.
I hear you.
Straight. I did have to say that I woke up this morning and my timeline was sort of bizarre.
I was just like, what is this nonsense?
Listen, the nonsense is that Rafael Nadal, all week we've heard about how great he's been. And he's on a roll, and you can't touch him. And his serve has been impeccable, and blah, 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 blah. And then you know what? Then he got to Federer. And Federer kicked his ass like he's been kicking his ass all fucking season. And all of a sudden, oh, he had tape on his knee. Oh, he can't bend properly. Oh,
it's like,
he didn't move that well.
Not at 100%.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what happened. He went after Federer's backhand time and time again. In like all year, because this is the end of the year, and this is what we've seen all year. Shit didn't work again. It didn't work again. He hasn't changed. The difference
his backhand. Supposedly, everybody. This is okay. Janina, can I just say? Let me interrupt you 2 seconds. It happened in the course of the match. I'm watching the match, and the first starts out. Robbie Koenig says, "Even though the surface is fast, I'm still gonna give." I'm gonna give the heads up to Rafa. I think he's gonna take Federer down. Mm-hmm. I think he's been playing stunning ball this week. He was tested, truly and truly tested. I'd say a set and a break up by Federer. Koenig then responds. I think the surface has really, really, really given Federer an advantage. I have to admit that I'm a little bit shocked by it. He acknowledged the surface in the first part of the tournament, acknowledged that Rafa was playing well on the surface in spite of it being fast, and that he might have actually conquered that surface. And then midway through, he was willing to say, maybe I was wrong. Look, the surface was the only reason why
I don't even know how Robbie Koenig even got to the midway of the match to even try to say shit. Because the problem was like, Rafa serve wasn't working. Federer was reading that shit like it was an email. It was like Federer had a cheat code. And that the other thing about it, what was even that he couldn't read Federer's serve. In the past, he could be like,
I'm on one break point.
That's unusual. Rafa usually had, well, actually, no. Usually the problem in this makeup is that Federer would have a lot of break chances on Rafa's serve, but he wouldn't take advantage of it because he would always serve to Federer's backhand.
But
Federer, this time around, Federer was able to manage most of
Federer's games.
Yeah,
Nadal would also beat Federer's game, and I think that's the only difference. That every service game for Divadal became pressure. He was under the gun from the jump. He got broken first game out.
Yeah,
he got broken to lose the match.
You know what was most impressive? I'm gonna tell you what was most impressive. As slow as that motherfucker hairless Rafa plays, that match only lasted an hour and 12 minutes.
Federer was not fucking around.
Listen,
not fucking around. And
I'm watching
I have to see.
And I saw Rafa. It was a changeover, and he takes a sip. He's got his water bottles there. And from what I could tell on TV, and I'm sure someone will be like, no, that's not what it was. It looked like only just 2 bottles of water. Like usually there looks like the special magic drink and then water. And I swear it was just 2 bottles of water. And he takes a sip of one and he puts it down and he sets it just right. And then he picks up the other one. And I'm like, but that's water too. And he takes a sip and he puts it down just right.
One is warm water and one is cold water.
I don't know, man. I was just like, they're both water. What's going on here? Couldn't you just get an extra long drink out of the other one? And I'm thinking,
Federer's service games were quick too, so he was.
Yeah, but even with all of Rafa's little ticks, and there were a couple times where Roger's waiting for Rafa to come back up to the line so he can start the game. It took an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, but I think they were clocking. I think they were clocking people this year.
No, but I think that tells you. No, I think that also tells you that the match was played entirely on Federer's
terms. Yeah,
because
I mean, it was so short. Match. It was so short that Tennis Channel had managed to replay it like 4 times by noon. And I'm not even exaggerating.
You know what? I went to you know what? Because I watched this. I mean, to be honest, Diego Schwartzman had a better chance of beating Federer than Rafa did in the final.
True.
Was interesting. And Delpo.
What I'm not trying to hear is how Rafa wasn't at his best.
I can't imagine it because he was phenomenal in the match, and people kept telling me that there was no chance that Rafa would lose for the rest of the season.
The discussion this week was
was
it 2010 Rafa? Was it 2013 Rafa? No, I'm hearing it's now 2014 Rafa encore. Get the fuck out. Yeah, stop this shit. Stop this shit.
Rafa has had an amazing year, just like Federer.
He had an amazing
But you know what?
Now all of a sudden he loses to Federer again. Because let's just say it because it sounds good. Every time they've played in a final this year, Federer has won. I mean, Rafa fans don't know what to do with that. That's the problem. They don't know how to handle that.
It's also the commentators, because what I like about this, I don't really care about what Rafa fans feel about this. You want your fave to win, that's fine. That's a given. And you're going to come up with an excuse. That's fine. But what I think is really interesting is how challenged the commentators are to explain what's happening. Because for them, this has been, I don't know what it is about them. And I don't know what they need. I don't know why they need Federer to lose to Rafa so much. I don't know what that does for them. But it's like this moment where they themselves begin to offer excuses. They're not even talking strategy anymore.
Right, but here's the reason. Right, here's a pet theory that I have working out.
It's your pet theory.
Because this becomes a real interesting question for 2017 now. Mm-hmm. So it has always been proffered that is Roger Federer really the greatest tennis player when Rafa has an amazing head-to-head against him? No, the question for 2017 is Rafa really the #1 player in the world when Federer has kicked his ass 4 times?
Well, you know what? It's not for this, but see, this is the thing. And this is the thing. This is the challenge.
That's what they have to ask themselves.
No, but you know what it is? They don't have to ask themselves that. The #1 player is who's the #1 player, and that's Rafa. But the problem is they used to beat Federer up with that when he was #1 all the time. And because they created that landscape, they're now trapped by that landscape.
Have anywhere else to go.
They're the ones that created that because they used to be how can you be #1? How can you be the greatest? How can you be any of these things? Now they have to. Now they've created this monster, similar to like we talked about Davis Cup, and this is a monster you created because you know what? Rafa's #1 simply because he played more matches this year. That's all. That's really what it is because of the clay.
He won 2 majors. He won a bunch of majors.
But same thing to Federer. This would be closer if Federer had played clay. That's all it is. That's all it is. And you know what? And what I find amazing is that people are upset that Federer pulled out of the clay season, which I don't understand that because there were years when Rafa played 6 months of the year and only played clay for the most part. So I don't really understand why people are suddenly
it's a Spanish tradition.
You know what I mean? Like, it was so weird. That was the sort of interesting thing because listen, Federer is 36 years old. you're going to have to make hard choices. They've said that to Rafa often. He's going to have to make hard choices. He's chosen not to.
And they said it since he was 19.
Exactly. So Federer made hard choices about what his body could handle. We saw what happened when Federer did not listen to his body and he went to Montreal and he wasn't ready and he ruined his back, which cost him Cincinnati and potential of the US Open. So he made a smart choice about bagging clay for the best season that plays to his game, which was the grass season. And he was rewarded with that.
Which is exactly why when Rafa is struggling, he doesn't miss clay because he knows that's his best chance.
And so why people, you know what I mean? This is so interesting. Rafa didn't play. Sometimes Rafa didn't ever get to the US Open. Sometimes he's not even been to the Australian Open. Like there are players who have done what they needed to for their bodies for years. And it's been thought of as smart, thoughtful play. Suddenly, at the end of this very, very amazing year for both of them, they want to cast aspersions on the choices that have allowed them to have a.
And how dare Federer not show up and damage a tournament and not allow them to make money because he doesn't show up? Shame on you, Roger Federer.
Wait, Janita, you can't have it both ways.
Hey, that's what I'm saying, man.
Listen, on one hand, people tell us that Federer is not popular. Nobody cares if he shows up at a tournament. He doesn't
exactly.
He doesn't sell out. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Rafa's the one that keeps the tournament.
This is
going.
the madness we're talking about.
So if he shows, it didn't seem to have an impact, to be honest, on the clay season. It seemed to me that people still showed up and watched tennis.
Zverev was a hard thing. Look, I don't know. This is what I'm talking about. My timeline was a crazy shit, right? So people are mad because a man didn't show up for work. He took vacation. We gonna be mad at a man to take vacation?
Listen, nobody's mad. You know what? You can't be mad because this is what's allowing Rafa to be the number one player, the clear number one. Now, is it distressing for people that he's lost to his rival this year? Maybe, but you know what? Federer lived it for many, many years, and he took that number one whenever he wanted to, and it was fine. But you're gonna have. I love when life comes full circle. Life comes full circle because guess what, people? It's matchups. It always was matchups.
You know what?
Matchups.
You know what the big issue is that people don't want to acknowledge right now this year.
Mm-hmm.
Federer
is older.
No, that's not our point.
Federer has. It may have taken him a decade to get here, but he has finally started doing some things differently when he plays Rafa. That's why he's winning this year against him.
And he has a different racket, which gives him a lot of
the things that he
wanted to have in that matchup on the backhand side.
He's playing him different. He has not been afraid of that backhand against Rafa like we have seen for the last 10 fucking years.
Also
he has changed. Federer. But listen. No, it's not just that it's indoors because we've seen this all year. We saw it from the beginning. At the Australian Open, in the hot sun, he played Rafa differently. He just played differently. And Rafa hasn't changed. I think Rafa has gone, this has always worked for me because it has. And I think he tried.
He tried to go to the forehand in Miami, and it didn't quite work. He tried to do a little bit more. Didn't do it. Federer was solid on the
But he always expects that backhand to break down, and it's not doing it this year. And he doesn't know what to do. And if Roger Federer is nothing else, he is a master of reinventing himself to stay relevant.
Oh, honey, don't say that. That's not what Roger does. That's what people think Rafa does.
Is that right?
Yes, that's the story we've been told about Rafa.
How's that working out for him?
He's always reinventing himself.
This is what I'm talking about.
These are these narratives. These are these narratives that they force the players into because Rafa changed his racket briefly and then went back because it wasn't working. Federer, following I think what Pete Sampras says, which if he had it over to do again, he would have changed his racket. And Fed stuck with the racket change even though it was problematic as fuck. Yeah. Let's remember 2013. It was a nightmare.
It was ugly.
It was ugly. But, he played the long game, and now he has a better sense of how to work with that racket. He has a lot more confidence on his backhand side. He has a lot more control. Not as many shanks, although those glorious shanks occasionally come. And so, to my mind, that has been the story for him.
isn't treating Federer like Federer. He's like, motherfucker, you got work to do, okay? You need to show up.
You know what?
Everybody else, I think, is like, oh, Federer. Even Letisha's just like, nope. You know what the fuck you need to do out here? You need to get in that backhand and deal with this shit. Because one of the things about this
because Ivan has played Rafa, and he understands Rafa.
And he knows Rafa. And
you know what?
Rafa looked out of position so many times today. Rafa was caught out of position by Federer.
But he
was in the wrong place.
And you know what? He looked the way that Rafa looked the way he looked when Federer beat him one in love, I think it was, at World Tour Finals one year. Similarly, like just out of sorts, rushed and out of sorts. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong.
That's hard to do.
The next time they meet, he's gonna try to be more prepared for it, for sure. You know, absolutely. I mean, most likely at the World Tour Finals. But I mean, this time around, he was undone similarly to how he was undone in Indian Wells.
Well,
he looked like he wasn't prepared. He looked like he just came into this match thinking, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna win this. But
you guys, let's talk about the obvious that we're not talking about. We talked about it at the beginning of the year when we saw Roger and Rafa both in final after final. They're rested this year. What is next year going to look like?
Next year's a home ball game.
Murray's back and Novak's back. Which Murray, I mean, unless he has like a bionic hip, I don't know what he's going to do. But I expect Novak to come back
and dominate,
like with a fucking vengeance.
Sure.
I think he'll be a little. You know what? I don't even know if I expect that motherfucker to be rusty.
Well, I'm gonna imagine.
I think he'll be hungry. I think he'll be hungry.
But we have to remember that both Roger and Rafa last year had a very long break. They didn't play the second half of the year, and they're very rested. So, as surprised as some people seem to be, this really isn't that surprising. It's really not, because we know, and we have seen and talked about it for years, time and time again, that these young bucks, they don't know what to do when the top dogs are missing.
I will say though, because it came up with the commentators as well, and they were asking whose performance is the most surprising this year. And for many of them, the most surprising performance was from Federer. Now, I think that's really strange because Federer left the game in the top 5 when he had the surgery. Yes, this is the first time he's ever come back from surgery, but his game had been competitive with the top person in the game, which was Novak. For me, I'll be honest, Rafa's performance is the most surprising because he hasn't gotten to a Beijing hardcourt final in years, a Shanghai final in years. His body has never lasted this long in an entire season. So to my mind, yes, winning the French, not that surprising, but winning a hardcourt slam, winning the US Open for Rafa, getting to the Australian Open. If you remember correctly, Federer had already gotten to these finals. He hadn't won them, but the person who was getting there and competing with Novak had been Federer. So if Novak isn't there, it would necessarily mean that maybe Federer would benefit, right? Well, I think Rafa's turnaround has been pretty transformational.
I think you're absolutely right. But I think the reason why people say they're more surprised by Federer is because Federer is beating Rafa repeatedly in finals. It's a backhanded compliment that they don't even realize they're giving. I think that's really what people are saying when they say they're more surprised by Roger than Rafa. Because let's be honest, we did not expect for Federer to come out on top every time Roger and Rafa have met in a final this year.
Not at all. Not at all.
So that's that's why
when I look at the tennis that's being played on the day, I am like, Federer wins this every single time.
No, but that's never been that's always
that's not been history.
Because Federer, the last time Federer lost to Rafa was in 2014 at the Australian Open, and Federer was playing the best tennis, better than Rafa. And he still met in that matchup and got beaten. So it's proof of like looking at tennis playing and go, oh well, this should beat. That's rarely been the case.
I'm talking about in the sense when I say this, I mean in terms of like what I see both of them bring to the table on the day of the match. I'm just like, okay, I can totally see Rafa is doing these things wrong, X, Y, and Z, and Federer is doing these things right. That's what I mean in terms of like on the day of the match. Not just because Because these matches were not won and lost by like a point or like in a tiebreaker.
No, it's by fully the whole.
They have been won convincing. Federer's been in control, particularly even but also someone pointed out that maybe the turnaround could have been at the Australian Open when Nadal was up 3-1 and he lost 5 straight games. That sort of like took a mental toll, and he just kind of feel like, God, my serve isn't working. You know, like this man was on top of everything all over the place. But I mean, for me, hey, some of y'all are crazy fit. But I have to say that one of the interesting things that someone of the Divadal stand mentioned along the lines of saying that maybe that Nadal is not being tested because he's playing all these scrubs, and then he's show up and they
haven't claimed that. They haven't claimed that because they've been claiming that.
No. I read that today. That today.
The claims have been that Federer has not been actually playing tough players, and that Rafa. I mean, if you look at Rafa's draw, theoretically, he was supposedly tested. Cilic
could have won that match.
Cilic would have played. Yeah, he did. If he could play with some assurance, listen on a fast court like that. You pick Cilic to do it, but you don't pick him mentally to do it. But game style, you pick him to win.
And let me just say, I've been talking about Cilic semifinal. Let me just say, Delpo, you're getting on my last fucking note. You are. I mean, like, you're like that friend. You're like that person that I have to deal with because my good Judy is in love with you. So, Andreen, another one of your scrubs I got to put up with. Delpo, you're being a big diva and baby whatever. I know you feel like your career has been robbed. Don't be like Tommy Haas, okay? Don't be that bitter bitch. Don't be a bitter bitch untold. You're constantly complaining. Taking 50 fucking minutes to bounce the ball. Going on. It's your hand drama.
My wrist. What happened?
I broke my wrist. But slugging away against.
Wait. Let's explain. So what happened was, Janina, Delpo had one break point chance in the first set, took it, and Federer had no chance on Delpo's serve, and it was over 6-3. Second set, they're going along fine. What game is it? Is it the third game? Third game, I think it is. I think it's the third game. So for or the fourth game for Federer to go up 3-1 or something. Delpo is serving fairly well, but then he comes under pressure. It's like maybe what? How many deuce games? 8, 9 deuce game points?
Yeah, maybe? I think so. It was a very long game.
It was a long game. So he was fine in the beginning, and the audience is fine. You know, he serves. It's fairly quiet actually, because I rewatched it. It's quiet, but then Federer gets a couple advantage to his advantage. So then Delpo misses a couple first serves. So between the first and the second serve, the audience starts to get a little tingly. They're like, ooh, this might be a chance for Federer to break. So they're shifting. They're not screaming, actually. They're just shifting. It gets a little noisy. Delpo's upset about it. He's like, oh, I can't concentrate. So he complains to the umpire about it. Like, could you get them to stop? So the umpire tells them, please, no noise between points. I actually watch, and they actually respond. Because they're not animals, which is what somebody claimed online. They respond. They respond, and they tet. No noise. There's one point in time where Delpo, it's Federer's advantage. Delpo misses a first serve. No noise, and he looks at the umpire. Like, motherfucker,
like do something.
Yeah, there's like no noise. There's none. But he's feeling anxious because Federer's pressing him, and he feels like I feel like he knew that if he got to a third set, he wouldn't win it. So he really wanted to get out of there in 2, and he probably was having wrist pain, but he just wanted to get out of there in 2. So he gets aggravated. So of course Federer breaks, and he goes to the umpire and he's bitching about it. So then we go to commercial. When it comes back, I think the umpire has asked a tournament rep to come out and say it in Mandarin.
Okay.
Because he's telling the umpire they don't understand. They don't understand what you're saying. But I'm saying, so then I proceed to sit there back on my ass watching. I'm like, they know exactly what they're doing, Delpo. They want Federer to win this fucking match. You ain't the one.
You know, this is what I don't understand. Delpo,
what was this I kept seeing all over my timeline about Delpo saying, you're afraid of Federer? He says two words and you won't.
Okay,
so
so at some point in time in that same game, there's a ball that Federer misses and he hits the ball, like, hits it in anger. And
who did? Delpo?
Federer does. Like he goes to hit the ball, he misses it, the ball is like bounces, and then he hits it in anger, right? And it flies a little bit towards Delpo, but far above his head, nowhere close to him. He doesn't notice it. So I think Delpo is expecting Federer to get a racket abuse, some sort of ball abuse warning. He doesn't get one. He doesn't get one. But the irony of it is that Delpo does something similar, I think either a couple minutes later, and he doesn't get a warning either. Because I think what's happened is the umpire recognized that they were both tense. So he gave them both latitude. He really did, actually, because he could have called Delpo when Delpo kept talking during Federer's serve and stopping and interrupting and like getting all antsy. He could have said, can you shut up? It's not the pace of the server.
I'm taking a Nole. He needed a shot clock on court.
Yeah, and he was taking forever. So it actually was, in some ways, the umpire was actually quite forgiving of both of them. They probably both should have been called, but so then Delpo accuses, I don't know if he said it, but I don't know if he must have said it on court, but then I think he said it in his presser that there's a different rule for him and a different rule for Federer. And I was like, motherfucker, have you watched yourself play? Your ass should be calling time every week.
And this is what I don't understand. Delpo, you were the same mofo. You won that match against Dominic Thiem because the crowd was antsy.
With the crowd helping you. The crowd rallying during Dominic's serve, screeching during Dominic's serve. This is the thing about it, is like, and you know what? And the crowd was not that crowd. They were actually quite respectful. They were excited and they were engaged, but they did, and they clapped. Sometimes there's always that awkward clap between a double fault or something, but it wasn't like it was in Miami with Nick or in New York with the USO. They were kettering. It was not that way. And it was like, of course, everybody was like, the crowd's disrespectful. And, there's always that kind of racialized tone with certain crowds.
I'm fucking.
They're always. This is funny. They always try to come for.
They always come for the Asian crowd too, because they do that thing where they're like, "You don't understand." I was like, "Motherfucker, who don't understand?" Did you see when
Asians almost always speak English?
You know what I mean? It was like, what the fuck?
Especially in a place like Shanghai, which is like known for international business.
Yeah, so it's like, you think they don't understand English and you think they don't understand tennis? Come on, it's not that complicated. I mean, let's just be stereotypical. They get ping pong. I think they get tennis.
Exactly. They do this every single year.
Oh, shit.
Some ATP player or some WTA player get on some racialized tone.
Exactly.
Wants to get extra with the Asian crowd. And mind you know what? Asia should take away the fucking money and you'll be playing for change in the backyard classic. Get the fuck over yourself.
Listen, you can't be from Argentina and complain about noise. I don't understand that.
I just said that. Therefore, it can't be you. Therefore, it cannot be you.
I mean, Delpo could not be sitting around talking about fan favorite with a crowd, because you single-handedly win matches when you tell the crowd that they help you. See, the problem was he needed help from the crowd, and the crowd was giving him nothing.
And then first of all, but let us go back. The crowd is mad because you shouldn't have been there, because they already read that your ass was saying you weren't going to show up for the match.
But it was bullshit.
No.
The thing I had a problem with was Delpo was upset, and it's fine, he's competitive and whatever, but Delpo complained about pain later. So his ass was probably not even going to be up for that final, but he really wanted that Federer win.
Thank you very much. Exactly. So you know what? You weren't going to fuck over somebody's semi-finals, okay?
So he said he complained of wrist pain.
Yes, because he fell in the previous match. He fell in the previous match and then went and got some sort of magic
treatment.
X-ray and was like doubts about him winning or even playing the match. Everybody was thinking it was going to be a walkover. I wake up, his ass had won the first set. I was like, this ain't no walkover.
And trust me, he was in that match. He was in that match.
I don't know what kind of backhand pain he had, but he was hitting that backhand like it was a drug.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, God.
You're being extra as of late. I get it. Okay,
he's turning into Tommy Haas. I give him a wide
turning
berth,
into bitter.
But
he's turning bitter.
He was. I don't know if he was bitter, but I think there's something that comes out against these guys that he feels like he should be up there with. Like, I think he really believes he should be at the top of the game with the Rafas and the Feds.
And that's understandable. But Boo, understand that your body, it's your body.
I don't like it.
And look, Boo. You cannot be coming for the top. Don't be the WTA, okay? Don't be Alize Kone. Don't be coming off for the number one and the top players and then falling over Troitsky in the first round in some tournament. Nobody checking for you there.
No, Delpo. But you know what? I think Delpo sometimes get a little bit of that Nick Kyrgios thing, where it's really important for him to establish himself in terms of dominance against certain players, like because he really believes he is on that level, and he is. But you know, he got extra. There was so much agita in that match, Janina. Like if I didn't know that Delpo quote unquote liked Federer. I would have felt like Federer. He was hating him that day. He was extra.
Oh, Delpo definitely had some hate for Federer because it was almost like he was looking at Federer like, "Why won't you go home? Like, stop! Like, literally stop!" In the second
or like, "Why do these people love you so much? I'm tired of playing against you."
For that long game, it was like, "Motherfucker, why are you still doing this? You need to stop right now and let me get through this." But you know, Delpo, listen to me, girl. Listen to me.
It was so much eggs.
It is one thing to beat the top players, but no one is checking for you. Unfortunately, because when you came on the scene and when you really became a thing, is that you beat the man in the final of a major. Bar so high. Ain't nobody checking for you for beating him in the semifinals. It means nothing unless you win the title again.
Yeah.
Well, Delpo has become
a long game.
I think for him it's really important to really. He shows up. He shows up in those matches. He really does. His game face.
But Delpo has become the person who does the hard work for somebody else. He takes out one of the top guys and he fizzles in the next round. He has become that person, and he shouldn't. He really shouldn't.
You know what?
He should.
But you know what? This ain't hockey. We don't have an enforcer. We don't need a spoiler. Because you know what? You get no semifinal trophy. You get no medals for the semifinal.
It doesn't matter. But listen, I told y'all that. What did I tell you? From last year, I said Delpo comes in and he'll fuck up your fave.
Yep.
But he will not do the thing you need, which is you go fuck up your fave, then you need to get to Rafa in that final. You need to get to that final. You don't let Anderson get to that final. Or you or Rafa get to that final.
But Delpo, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong because you can't fuck up you can't fuck up a top player for another top player to win. Fuck up a top player for Zverev to win, but not Kyrgios to win. Let me young person.
He can't control that. That's the draw. But I mean, that's unfortunately what's happened with Delpo, you know. And
because you keep fucking it up for the same usual suspect, and no one remembers you because a big person wins. Who's gonna check for Delpo when Nadal beat him? No one's gonna remember that semifinal match.
I watched when Nadal is holding. I was checking for Delpo in that match, and that Delpo had no energy. No, I know, but there was nothing there. He had no legs, and there was nothing there, and that crowd had no interest. He probably wanted that crowd to get up.
Yeah, they were like, no, none of that for that.
That's really what it was. I was telling somebody. Let me just say, I always remember. You remember when Federer went to Argentina and then did that tour in Argentina with Delpo, and they played that exhibition match. I will always remember that Delpo was struck. He said it, that he was in Argentina and they were cheering for Federer and not him. I always remember that.
Thomas Berg.
You know what though? It's really discombobulating for players. Like, you know, I don't give a shit because, you know, we don't cheer for Americans. So what the fuck? But I think for them, it's a big deal. They ain't cheering for me. It's a big deal when they go someplace or they're playing against Federer and he's automatically the town favorite, even in their town. Like, I think that's really weird for them. Because I remember him mentioning it out loud. He's like, they were cheering for Federer here. And I was like, yeah, boo.
Cheer for him everywhere. Surprise, ding, ding, ding.
But also, they don't see him that often. You know what I mean? I was like, it's a special occasion. They don't see him, so they see you next week. You know? But there's also, people should understand that too. Like, it's not that. Well, I mean, that's I'm lying.
So Federer won another title. He's had a good year. Rafa's had a great year. What are we looking forward to as the end of the year? Anything?
Well, no. What we're looking forward to is the ATP Comeback Player of the Year. That's what I'm looking forward to, because that fucking list is a hot goddamn
Who's
mess.
on it? Tell us.
Well, pull it up.
Not on it is the issue.
I'm looking forward to the comeback player of the WTA, because apparently,
Man, listen, if Sharapova wins that fucking thing, is she on it?
Is she on it?
No.
Okay.
No, she's not on it. She's not on it. I mean, they couldn't fix it that way. No, I think
they could have. They probably tried.
I know. I think the question is, should it be Sloane Stephens or Kvitova? I mean, is it about coming back from injury?
But that seems major.
Weird.
I mean, she climbed the ranks.
Yep, she won a major.
And she won a major. Hands down, Sloane's the comeback player of the year.
Well, maybe that might not be the most appropriate word to use in Kvitova's case in terms of hands.
You know what?
You know what though? I mean, I don't really understand why people think it has to not like people are like, no question, it's Kvitova. I was like, well, did she win any big titles? I mean, she returned to work. She returned to work, which is great. Similar to Sloane. Sloane returned to work too, but Sloane actually, I mean, that's amazing for Sloane. There's no way. I mean, ranking points, the whole thing doesn't make sense.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're on the list. I don't know how the vote works. Is people vote? Fans vote? Is it a fan thing or journalists?
I think it's a journalist vote. Yeah.
The
comeback. I think it is. I think some of those are. I think those are the journalist one. I don't think fans. I think fans only vote like for fan awards. Like I don't think. Well, I mean,
that's an excellent point. I mean, yes. I mean, look. To me, I don't care what I'm there, because that title is not money. It's not ranking points. Okay, like you don't need that for validation as to who and what you are.
Yeah.
You know, so people need to lay the fuck off of that and just remember that it means nothing. It's just a sort of a celebration on the TOEFL party and whatever the case to me. You know, it's not going to do anything to their career per se, whatever. What Kvitova come back from is an amazing thing. I mean, like, according to the report was that her hand was almost defunct. You know, she couldn't do anything, and she's back on work, and she's at a high level. However, while at work, she wasn't performing at the level of Sloane Stephens. Sloane Stephens, too, had a debilitating injury. She didn't have a foot.
Yeah, she couldn't. There was a possibility that she might not even be able to play. So it's not the circumstances of the injury that makes it a big deal. It's the actual fact that you couldn't do your actual sport, right?
Right. So apparently, if she wins, I mean, because if either one, I mean, who cares? In fact, like, you know what? But what I dislike, it's not even. I don't even care who wins. What I dislike is the tenure of people's logic behind if Kvitova doesn't win.
Well, that is
people.
weird.
Sloane isn't a half. Y'all need to get the fuck over yourself.
That was weird.
It's like every fucking year, every goddamn year is some bullshit. When there's a player of color, y'all just get wild and stupid and crazy. Some time ago, it was Serena versus the Haas. Oh, the Haas should fucking win. No, that's not how it works.
I mean, and the other thing is, to be honest, I mean, I know people are a comeback player, but if you really wanted to pick, I really think it should be between Sloane Stephens and Ashley Barty, really, because she was out of the sport entirely and came back and started to win titles. So, you know, so it's like,
and became a thing.
It's a good category.
Which is something she didn't do.
And even Madison actually getting to the final of a slam with a hand surgery. I mean, like, so these are like big. It's no given, but I mean, I would.
Yeah, and I mean, like, so, and please don't, because y'all are making the comeback player award almost like the Oscars race, like best actress, right? Like she gained weight, she lost weight, she was ugly on the screen, so therefore she should win.
Yeah,
actual performing on the job. Comeback don't just mean that the comeback player because you show up to work. Okay, that can't be how it works. Okay?
I mean, I think the categories are interesting. I think that seems to be the most controversial categories: comeback and possibly, and also most improved.
I don't even know how Rafa isn't even on that list.
Why should he be on the list?
I'm confused.
Why? I don't understand why Rafa never fell out of the top 5. That's what I don't get with these things. Like, I mean,
but let me just qualify. Was he injured
something? Yeah, he took the year
so he just took a time off. He took the time off. Okay, that's what I just wanted to clarify. Yeah.
Yeah, he took the time off with an injury, but he never fell out of the top 10. So I'm like, what is he coming back from?
Yeah, it's true. He was within the same number.
You know, I mean, but that's always Rafa's won comeback several times, I think. Wasn't it? Didn't he win? And I'm always like, he's never fallen out of the I don't know. Like, these comeback awards are weird because
he's come back to me. Yeah, you know, ATP.
It's like I took a break. Like, I mean, okay, fine.
And maybe what really frustrates me.
Maybe Federer, you fell down. But
I'm not even concerned about Federer, but some of these people, there's a person on that list. I'm just like, I don't know you. Were you even missing? Like,
well, yes, that's why they're comeback.
Exactly. So clearly, it's like, it's not, I don't know what's going on here, but people, y'all just need to get y'all life together. You know, white girl feminism, y'all need to check that shit. Because y'all are looking funky and stupid. People can't,
like for people to stop.
We can't invite you to the party.
Like she's a horse.
Yeah,
that
like she's an animal.
I've seen some comments like that. That's odd. She's a person. Stop. She struggled off court.
Exactly.
The whole point of this is that, did this person feel like they were never going to be able to come back and perform at a high level in their careers? That's really what, in some ways, that comes down to, that comeback award, right?
Came back all of those people were
sidelined. Exactly. So that seems like, to me, exactly. Whatever. It's weird.
Yeah, so white girls and your crazy notion of feminism, stop that, because we're not gonna invite you to the parties anymore.
Honey, like, what parties?
Check yeah. Well, the cookout, apparently they have a t-shirt now with the cookout. Oh my god. I can't even. Okay.
Listen, don't invite people to the party when they're gonna start charging to get in. They're gonna charge to get into your party.
Oh my god.
So ladies, this is like, we have a little bit, a rundown to look forward to, and I just saw something flash across my timeline.
News feed wise, let me make sure everything that you
Janina, you just sent something to us.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't. Jesus.
Oh, Nick. Oh, so we had two other things.
Yes.
Nick gets the late season reprimand, and then the Fognini fine. I mean, I think, you know what? I'm not upset by the Nick fine, to be honest. He knows what the rules are. You need to go to a doctor if you're going to withdraw from a match for illness or injury. So do that.
He didn't withdraw from the match. He retired from the match.
But that's the thing. If you retire due to injury, you still have to show up and go see the doctor to confirm that an injury is actually happening. So maybe it was the manner in which it was done on the TV screen, but like they do have a protocol. That's just an employer. That's an agreement that if you're playing a tournament and you are injured and you have withdrawn,
just too much.
Still have to go.
It's too much. It's stupid.
How much was it's 85 something?
Yeah, it's like a ridiculous amount of money.
I can't sniff out the reasons for these fines. Like. And then
there's no rhyme or reason.
There's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, just trying to be like, this kid is not going to be. Maybe y'all are just mad because he had a good time at Lever Cup and y'all just trying to show him who the real boss is. But I assure you, Nick could get off this tour and go start some shit on his own and trap more crowd than some of y'all mates and y'all whatever the fuck that other tournament was. So just relax, okay? This kid is trying to make a place and he's trying to do something. He had a wonderful. Trying to do something really cool and awesome in Australia.
Yeah, I guess
trying to get more kids involved into sports.
Trying to do like a sports thing, a sports academy or a sports place where people show up and do really anything. Cool. Listen, you know what? Cool. If you need to find a reason to get up there and be on the tennis tour, and this is one of them, good for you. Good luck. I mean, that's what Agassi needed. He needed a reason to play because he was so upset and angry with life. If that works for you,
brain is fried from Crystal. So. Hey.
Crystal, man.
Boy.
And the Fognini like fine is weird. Like it's like he has to do something else. It's kind of like the Nick fine. So like it's only at slams, right?
No, he only get They charge him $96,000, which is ironically the same amount you charge Serena, but Fognini gets to get back like 50,000 of that money or something like that if he behaves himself into 2019. Oh. Now, y'all didn't offer Serena that same kind of deal, did you?
Well, let's not even do that.
I mean, we don't have to go. They don't have to be tit for tat. But I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, so he has the same organization. It's a good, but it's a different situation, right? Like, it's you know,
he's on
It's an ATP negotiated thing, right? Or is it ITF? I guess it's ITF.
It happened at an ITF event, so it's the same governing body was responsible for the fine and the adjudication of the matter. But he's on probation
for 2 years.
If you ask me, that's gonna blow the wide out of the water. He losing that money in Melbourne next year for sure. It's Fabio.
I mean, that's the Fabio self-control. It's pretty much what that is.
It's Fabio. I mean, like, come on now. I mean, the only reason why Fabio felt he was entitled to make such a comment at the US Open at that official is because he had been allowed to do it for so long.
Wait, just give it a little background because I know everybody listens, but what is Fabio being fined for?
He made some sexist comment to an umpire at the US Open. Mm-hmm. He said something, I forget the exact nature of it. I don't know whether...
But it was determined to be misogynistic.
Right, and it was audible. People heard it around. It was really rude and disgusting. I was uncalled for. Over something stupid, of course, over like a line caller, some nonsense like that. You know, it was way extra. And of course, he felt entitled to do it because, in fact, they weren't even sure what to do with him in the beginning.
Oh, he called the female umpire a whore.
Right, they were arguing and hiring to begin with, and then eventually, I guess enough people on social media started made a big fuss and fuss about it. That I think he got ejected out of the tournament altogether, but he'd already lost anyway. Yeah. I think if he was like in doubles or whatever, he was, they weren't gonna win anything, so he got kicked out of the tournament. And then but he was allowed to go back on tour and do whatever the hell he wanted to do, continue playing. And then they came up with the fine this week and saying this is what's going to be the determination, because he was fined at the US Open eventually and then kicked out, and then this is what they're going to do here. But to me, it's just like, look, this is kind of interesting and silly because this is what I hate about these fines thing and whatever. You don't come up with some kind of rule. It's just like a vendetta against one player, because Fabio felt entitled to make this comment because he was always saying stupid shit like this. Quite recently, some player threw money at an umpire and be like, "Here's some money." Was it? I think it's a French player. I think it was. I forgot who it is exactly. So, I mean,
and you know what? I think the whole thing was really weird the way they handled it as well, because they waited to suspend him from doubles. So, in some sense, what he ended up doing was actually eliminating "quote unquote" better behaved players in the interim, because they waited like a couple days. So I think he ended up being able to play like a second and a third round match. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that was weird.
And this matter, and all of these things, and all of these things are determined. Like the umpire, the officials at the event, they keep a record of all of these comments and all of these things. So then you immediately, and everyone on social media knew, so it wasn't like they weren't aware of this. But everyone treats Fognini like he's a funny, like, oh my God, it's like the cool, weird uncle kind of like thing, like he's Italian, he's European, it's not that crazy. Y'all have been calling for him to be like, get the fuck out of the game forever. So, this is what I'm saying. Y'all need to be serious.
That's a male culture issue, though. That's just. I mean, they've always dismissed Fabio as a man being a man. People think he's clever and funny, and they didn't establish a zero tolerance around that, and so it was obvious that it was going to get to a point where they were going to have to kind of come down and say, I mean, who knows that you have to tell somebody not to call someone a whore, but I mean, while at work,
and I assure you, and something interesting, and here's the funny thing, right? I am absolutely sure that the chair umpire has the word whore in several different languages on their language list to figure out, because I'm sure Fognini would not been the first player to call an umpire a whore, a female umpire that could be. So
well, I mean, they can call themselves all manner of names, but it's just weird. Like, yeah, so it was kind of interesting that there's all these sort of delays. So you delay in letting him default from the doubles, and then you delay in telling him what this is, and then you also kind of give him like a real wiggling room. Really, it would just be better.
Yeah, you can make the money.
Yeah,
you can make the money right now. He's been working and making some money anyway, so it's like, come on now, yeah, it's just pointless. But
that was kind of dumb.
Hey,
but
the less of funny I see, the better.
Tennis. That's tennis. And then, of course, as we know, according to Chrissy, such things doesn't happen in tennis. So everyone's real respectful on the job. Oh, didn't I hear that chair umpires are actually like
assholes?
And treat the female umpires poorly? Isn't it?
Well, not only the female umpires.
Tennis is fucking ridiculous if you really think.
Not forget, there was a recent write-up write-up about officials of color, how they're being mistreated and mishandled. That the USTA had an official. It would be someone could speak the lingo in there, trying to placate some of these issues, and someone showed up with a noose around a plan. It's like, oh, it's a joke. You just take it around.
What? Like, an umpire did this? What?
No, someone put during USTA organization had a noose at one of the officials, the court officials, like line umpire, and they had a noose at her locker, or his or her locker, and when they reported it, this was in a write-up. Someone sent it to us, and because remember, the USTA actually lost a court case where the government said that you were in fact showing unfavorable action towards officials of color.
Well,
this is I mean, when the government say you're racist, you're really racist. I mean, trust me, the bar for the government. And then they told the person, you're taking the joke the wrong way. Like, how the fuck are you gonna take it?
All right.
But anyway,
but Chrissy don't be knowing. Chrissy only knows what happens on her level.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, I guess this is not the place to be discussing this, but anyway, I think we just need to do better on a whole, and we need to be having. I don't want to say having conversations, but we need to be giving women the space. Giving women the space and place to really say, and we need to say this at work. We need to go around at work and say, look, men, stop looking at her fucking boobs, stop trying to touch her, stop trying to date her, and stop that stupid shit. She's not interested in you. She can actually say if she wants to be with you. She can say, let her make the first move. Okay? And that probably would solve a lot of issues, like some issues, I should say, but it's just disgusting. It's just really pissing me off anyway.
Don't let it piss you off. But tennis is supposed to be fun.
But then somehow the real world always creeps into tennis, right? Tennis becomes like this
microcosm. Yeah.
This microcosm of exactly what's happening, like the same shit. But anyway, ladies, lovely to have us all back together again.
The season is
we went longer.
An end, right? Ooh, we only have
I know.
More. Are we gonna enjoy our break? I don't know.
I don't have to talk to you people after November. I don't have to.
Bullshit.
Like,
we're looking forward to WTA Singapore and the other
fans who are going to any of these events.
Please let us know,
and we could probably have you on.
We love it when we hear a live feed because it's always better live, or at least there's some shit happening that we never see on TV.
Exactly. The word on the street, because we can't really trust the journalists to tell us exactly the place what's actually going on in a lot of these places. And fans, let us know what you would.
Apparently, the only time journalists lied were during the Labor Cup. But anyway,
Oh my God.
I just want to say, fans, if you probably could let us know what you want us to do for our last podcast for the year.
Ooh.
We might be saying, I'm thinking maybe we should invite some of you on to.
Yeah, we should do it live.
Tell us how much you hate us or love us, Oh, we're full of shit. I don't know.
Oh, we should do something.
Definitely should. So people, I can't even with that tweet you sent, Angie. Not even. But anyway, so fans, don't forget, you can comment below. We're on Podbean, we're on YouTube, and we're on iTunes.
And again, congratulations to Roger Federer. Your dominance of Rafa Nadal is
it's beautiful.
It's a secret sauce to the year. It's a secret sauce to the year. Right. You might not end up as number one, but life comes back around.
According to their rules, you are the number one player of the year.
Because it only matters. It only matters that head to head in the year. So
the head that matters.
It all comes
and
back
the brilliant thing is that you both have 2 majors, no Davis Cup weave for any of you. So no Olympics. So it's all even Stevens and Federer is number one. Just
God, I've missed our shade.
Just enjoy it, because Rafa's gonna be coming for your wig. If he can't get his ass off his knees to come to Basel, he's gonna try to snatch that anywhere else he finds you.
Amen. Keep the streak alive in 2017. Keep the streak
alive. That's all. You don't even have to end the year as number one.
I don't even care.
Streak. Nobody cares.
Rafa.
Exactly, Federer. Just do us the solid.
And then you can tag in Nole come January.
Oh my God, we're horrible. All right, goodbye.
Oh my God. Goodbye, people. Goodbye. Enjoy your evening, ladies. Bye.
Bye.